Now we have Tania from Elvie, a very female company. In fact, we know some of your early investors, and it's an amazing, vertical. Let's learn about
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tania, and I'm here to talk about Elvie and bringing women's health technology out of the dark ages. Our ambition is to become the first ever women's health tech brand with equal emphasis on the women as the consumer, the health, and the brand. And in 5 years, we're well on our way to achieving this. We've launched 2 category redefining products. The first is Elvie Trainer. It's the world's smartest and smallest pelvic floor device. And with this product, we're creating a new category in women's health technology and leading the conversation around women's health and the untabooing of women's health issues. Our second product is Elvie Pump. It's the world's first silent wearable breast pump. It's a large existing category that's lacked innovation that we've completely turned on its head. This year alone, we've seen 5x revenue growth. Just quickly a little bit about who we are as a team, because I think it shows what our DNA is, and I think it shows how, why, and what we're doing in digital health is so different to what's currently out there. So my background is in women's health. I have a PhD in sexual reproductive health and a background in research and innovation. And I teamed up with Alex Assaley, who started Jawbone, one of the largest wearable tech companies at its peak. And together, we've really brought together a group of people, very international, with a lot of big consumer brand experience. So we have, for example, Darren, who's joined us from Apple. He's Californian. We have 2 Irish people, John and Aoife, who are leading on marketing and product from Dyson, Alex from Google. And I think, but particularly, the reason why this is important is because ultimately, if you bring together people who are designing products and experience from Jawbone, from Apple, from Dyson, and you get them to look at problems in women's health that have been neglected for decades, you end up with a very different proposition. So women's health tech, it's a massive opportunity for the taking. Why? Because women's health issues have been consistently neglected by the tech sector, and the female consumer of tech has been neglected. Often one thinks that women just want a piece of consumer electronics, maybe we change the color, change the aesthetic. But in fact, women make up more than 80% of healthcare decision-making in the household and also have an important multiplier effect, making decisions both for the elderly and for the children. The tech sector is beginning to wake up to the importance and opportunity around the female consumer of tech. So we're seeing some interest, but mostly around the space around ovulation tracking and menstruation tracking. This is clearly important, but we're playing in a very different space. So we're targeting the first-time mother. So in the US, that's a 26-year-old woman. In China, a 27-year-old woman. And here in the UK, a 30-year-old woman. It's a very young and important demographic. Why? Because when women become mothers, they are going through so much life change. And it's actually a very easy opportunity to introduce new behaviors and new technology. And it's also a period in a woman's life which has been very neglected, partly because I think in our cultures here in Europe, we're often very focused on the baby and not so much on the woman and her health needs in this important period. So we focus on first-time mothers, and we support them with their health needs, and then obviously once we win them over, we'll be able to support them on different life stages as well. So how do we do this? Our ambition is to create the one-stop shop for women's health technology. We do this through hardware, digital, data, and services. So like other players in the digital health space, often the hardware is seen as the Trojan horse to the wider digital and data play. Yes, that's absolutely our belief too, and we see that huge opportunity there. But we also believe that if your wearable tech product, if your hardware product doesn't solve a real problem for the consumer, you can have very low uptake and very low adherence, which is what we see in a lot of wearable health technology. So for us, what we're really good at doing is taking neglected medical devices and turning them into premium lifestyle products. So our first product, which is the pelvic floor trainer, very simple organic shape. Inside is a patented sensor system, which gives more accurate biofeedback than what exists in hospitals. And for the breast pump, a product which normally relies on a mechanical rotary motor, we've used a piezo pump, which vibrates at 21,000 times a second, which allows us to miniaturize and go silent. So we innovate on the hardware, and then we have obviously the app, the connected part, with the digital and data play there. So we're already sitting on the largest global data sets for women's health, both for pelvic floor and baby feeding, but we use this both for the trainer around personalizing. So obviously with pelvic floor exercise, it's about personalizing the targets and the workouts in order to increase adherence and results and outcomes. And for the pump, it's about constant optimization. As I haven't got much time, I'm just going to go a bit more into the Elvie pump. So this is the product we launched a year ago. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with pumps. It's an essential product for new mothers, affordable in the Affordable Care Act, accessible for free in the US, which is 50% of global revenue, and yet huge frustration with this category. More than 80% of women regret how early they gave up breastfeeding despite the clear health benefits for baby and for mother. It's a category which is dominated by two incumbents, Medela and Philips. And I think we see this a lot in health tech. There's been very little innovation, especially turning it more into a consumer and user-centered approach. So what we've done, as I said, is completely turned it on its head. We reimagined this product. What if you could create something that was so silent and discreet, you put it in your bra, let go, and does it for you? And that's what we've done. It's still a medical device. It's a class 2 medical device. But what we're doing, and I think this goes beyond women's health tech, which is really where we need to see for the future for personal health tech, is that you need to launch products as medical devices, but very much market them as lifestyle products, similar to what the last speaker was saying. This is not about medical tech. This is around lifestyle and health tech, and you're expecting users to purchase and use your products. So we launched at London Fashion Week a year ago. Our product's all about empowering for women, changing their lives. There's a model walking down the catwalk. But there's also, this is not just a clever marketing ploy, it's also because when you're dealing with women's health, you're dealing with taboo issues in health, and they're issues that people don't talk about openly. So we need to help lead those conversations as well. So for women who give up breastfeeding at 6 weeks, 40% of them cite being embarrassed and ashamed to breastfeed in public. So here's a campaign we ran earlier called Free the Feed. We had 4 huge inflatable breasts, different colors, different shapes, that we put up across the skyline in London to help destigmatize this issue for women's health. And I think ultimately one of the things I'm most proud about, but also when you're dealing with taboo issues in health, if you can switch something from a negative, shameful experience into something positive, not only are you having a real impact on people's lives, but in terms of exponential growth opportunity, women will get behind your products and they will share. And what we've really seen is a huge organic sharing around breast pumping. Something that was a negative experience for women has now become positive and liberating. And women are using our products in ways we didn't expect. So here, they're uploading onto social, everything from driving a car, being at the supermarket, at the swimming pool, performing an operation. So it's been a really incredible movement around this issue. In terms of results, with just these 2 product categories with very little marketing spend, we've literally become number 1. We've displaced the incumbents in our major retailers, in our major markets. We're on track for $100 million revenue next year and go EBITDA positive. So it's a big opportunity. And we've also raised $42 million this year, which is the largest global raise for femtech, which is important for 2 reasons. One, to show that I think here in the UK and Europe, we're still very much competing when it comes to raising capital globally, but also to show that the investment community has woken up to the potential of women's tech. I do believe that in the future, historians will look back and kind of be befuddled that in 2019 there had never been a tech company focused on the female consumer. But I think for big change to happen, you need big macro trends to come together to align. And that's very much what we're seeing now with the whole Me Too movement, with this new wave of feminism and untabooing around women's health issues. And then obviously the whole change, the whole revolution we're seeing within health from the traditional doctor-patient paradigm to one more about individuals taking care of their own health, and the technology, and all those coming together has really created a very exciting moment in time. Thank you very much.